When a Hollywood tough guy like Tom Hardy shows up for a friendly chat on daytime TV, nobody expects fireworks. Before we dive in, tell us where are you watching from, also subscribe. But that's exactly what happened during what was supposed to be a simple promotional appearance on The View. Instead of charming stories about his latest movie, audiences got front row seats to an unfiltered, unhinged tirade that left viewers and hosts alike absolutely stunned. This wasn't your average awkward interview. It spiraled into a legendary moment that had producers cutting to commercial and security stepping in. Let's set the stage. The day began like any other on The View. The production crew followed their usual routines. The hosts skimmed their notes, and the audience filed in, excited to see one of Hollywood's most intense leading men live in the studio. Tom Hardy was scheduled to appear for a quick segment, just 10 minutes to promote his new film, the kind of segment celebrities do all the time. Quick questions, some laughs, a movie clip, done. Joy Behar, always sharp and prepared, had crafted what she believed were thoughtful, respectful questions. She wanted to touch on Hardy's process, his thoughts on storytelling, and how he chose his latest role. Nothing controversial, nothing remotely personal, or so she thought, but something felt off before the cameras even rolled. Crew members who'd worked with countless celebrities over the years described Hardy's energy that morning as different. He wasn't engaging with the staff, no small talk, no casual banter with the makeup team. When asked basic things, was he comfortable? Did he need anything? His answers were terse and cold. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Then the moment arrived. The cameras rolled. The theme music faded. Joy Behar, smiling brightly, welcomed him to the show. "Tom, we're thrilled to have you. Can't wait to hear about your new project." What followed next derailed the entire broadcast. Hardy didn't return the smile. Instead, he leaned forward slightly and fired back, his voice laced with skepticism. "Are we really going to pretend this is about the film, Joy?" There was a beat of silence. Behar, caught slightly off guard, tried to maintain the show's upbeat tone. "Of course," she replied. "Our audience always loves learning about upcoming movies and the amazing people behind them." Hardy wasn't having it. "You mean they love watching you dig into people's private lives under the disguise of friendly banter? Let's not pretend this is anything but a setup." The air changed instantly. The other hosts, Whoopi Goldberg, Sunny Hostin, and Sarah Haynes, exchanged concerned glances. Was this part of a bit? An intense role play? But Hardy's tone was too serious, too personal. This wasn't a performance. This was real. Behar tried again to de-escalate. "Tom, I assure you, no one's here to ambush you. We're just excited to talk about your latest project," Hardy scoffed. "I've seen your show. I know how this works. You lure people in with smiles and small talk, then you hit them with tabloid trash disguised as questions." Now, visibly unsettled, Behar replied, "Tom, we sent your team a list of our questions. Nothing personal was ever included." Hardy's expression darkened. "Standard topics? Like asking about someone's past addiction or sealed custody battles. Is that part of your standard list?" Joy froze. She glanced off camera, silently asking the producers what was happening. "We didn't prepare anything like that," she said calmly. "Whatever you think is going to happen, it's not." "Don't lie to me," Hardy snapped. "You people are all the same, smiling faces hiding sharp knives." At this point, the audience, once buzzing with excitement, sat in stunned silence. Some leaned forward, waiting to see what would happen next. Others shifted uncomfortably, unsure if they were witnessing an elaborate stunt or something far more serious. Whoopi Goldberg spoke up, trying to lighten the mood. "Tom, if there's a misunderstanding, we can clear it up. No one's trying to—" But Hardy cut her off. "It's not a misunderstanding, it's a pattern. You pretend to care, but all you care about is ratings. Drama sells, right? So here I am, giving you the drama you were hoping for." Joy Behar's patience was wearing thin. "Tom, I've been doing this for decades. I treat every guest with respect. If you're having a bad day, fine, but don't take it out on us." Hardy leaned back slightly in his chair, his gaze locked onto her. "You've built your entire career off of misrepresenting people, taking their worst moments and turning them into sound bites." Producers behind the scenes began to move. Camera operators repositioned. Floor managers whispered into earpieces. Was this headed for a commercial break or something worse? Behar tried one last time. "Let's get back on track. Talk to us about the film. What drew you to the character?" Hardy shook his head slowly, still trying to steer the narrative. Still pretending this is a real conversation. "I came here expecting honesty. I should have known better. The room was thick with tension now. The vibe wasn't just uncomfortable, it was volatile. No one on set knew what Hardy might say next, or do. Behar's voice grew firmer. If you have a problem with this show, this is not the way to deal with it. You're acting completely out of line. Hardy stood up. That's when the crew really began to move. A pair of security guards stepped into the wings, staying just out of camera view, but ready in case things escalated. Out of line? Hardy repeated, voice low and heavy. You think I'm out of line? You should take a long look in the mirror, Joy. This wasn't just a celebrity snapping under pressure. This was something deeper, personal, intense, and it was all unfolding live. The moment Tom Hardy rose from his chair, everything in the studio shifted. What had begun as an uncomfortable exchange was now entering truly dangerous territory. Behar stayed seated, locking eyes with Hardy, but her usual confidence was visibly shaken. Behind the cameras, producers were motioning urgently, stage managers whispered into headsets, and security slowly inched closer to the stage, uncertain whether stepping in would make things worse. You think I came here to promote a film? Hardy said, standing tall over the interview desk. No, Joy. I came here expecting basic decency, but I forgot who I was dealing with. Behar kept her composure. Barely. Tom, no one is attacking you. You're turning this into something it was never meant to be. Hardy took a step closer. No, you turned it into this the moment you decided I was another celebrity puppet to parade in front of your audience. He said, voice rising. You don't care about me. You care about clicks, controversy, and sound bites you can replay on every gossip site by noon. At that, Whoopi Goldberg stood up, stepping between them ever so slightly. All right, enough. She said calmly but firmly. You're not being fair, Tom. Whatever you're upset about, this isn't how you handle it, especially not on live television. Hardy turned toward her with a sneer. Oh, please, Whoopi. Don't pretend like you're the voice of reason. I've seen how you operate. You gang up on guests who don't fit your narrative, and then you call it journalism. Whoopi raised an eyebrow but stayed calm. We invite people from all sides to speak their truth. You were given that same respect. What you're doing right now, it's not about truth, it's about rage. Hardy slammed his hand down on the table. The sharp crack of his palm against the wood echoed through the studio. Coffee mugs trembled, water glasses tipped, and the audience collectively gasped. It was no longer just verbal intensity, it was physical. You think this is rage? Hardy bellowed. This is truth. And the truth is that daytime television is nothing but a glorified gossip column with better lighting. Sit down, Joy said, rising from her chair now, her voice tight with fury. You are being completely inappropriate. We invited you here in good faith. You're acting like a maniac, and frankly, you're making a fool of yourself. Hardy's eyes flashed. Good faith? That's a joke. You people smile to your guests' faces and stab them in the back the moment they leave the building. That's not journalism, that's emotional exploitation. Sunny Hostin finally jumped in, her voice measured but firm. Tom, I think you're projecting things that have nothing to do with us. You're clearly upset, but no one here has done anything to justify this level of hostility. Hardy turned his focus to her now. Projection? You think this is projection? Number. This is accumulation. Years of watching people like you destroy reputations for ratings. He pointed a finger at Joy. I've seen how you twist words, edit clips, and push people to the edge. You want to know what's really behind that smile, Joy? Manipulation, Joy. Behar didn't back down. She leaned into the confrontation, voice rising. I've been doing this show longer than you've been famous, and I've never had a guest come in here and behave the way you are now. You're paranoid, you're unprofessional, and you're unraveling on national television. That struck a nerve. Hardy's demeanor grew darker, his voice dropped low again, filled with menace. You think I care about being professional? You think I came here to play nice? I came here to pull the curtain back on the circus. And you, Joy, you're the ringmaster. The audience, once excited to be part of a celebrity segment, now sat in stunned, uncomfortable silence. Some people were glancing toward the exits, others were recording on their phones. This wasn't just viral content in the making, it was history unfolding live. Sarah Haynes, clearly trying to de-escalate, spoke gently. Tom, listen, we all want to give our guests space to express themselves. If you feel blindsided, let's talk through that calmly. We can reset the conversation. Hardy whirled to face her. Reset? There's no resetting this, Sarah. The masks are off. This isn't about me anymore. It's about what this show represents. He turned slowly, addressing the audience now. You all came here expecting fun, didn't you? A nice little peek into the life of an actor, but what you're really watching is how television manipulates people. This is what happens when someone stops smiling and starts telling the truth, Behar shot back, her voice now sharp and icy. No, what people are seeing is a grown man have a tantrum on live television. If you're unhappy with your career, your press team, or your life, that's your problem. Don't take it out on us. You don't get it, Hardy said. You still think you're the victim here. You're not. You're part of a machine that profits off pain. Behar folded her arms. And you're part of the same industry, Tom. You've done talk shows, interviews, press junkets. Don't pretend you're above it all just because you're having a bad day. Hardy's response came through clenched teeth. I played the game because I had to, but not anymore. I'm done being polite to people who think they own the narrative. The producers were now openly signaling the control room. The broadcast feed cut to a wide shot. One of the assistant directors motioned to the security guards who had moved even closer to the set, but Hardy wasn't finished. Don't look so shocked, he said to the co-hosts. This is what happens when someone refuses to be another soundbite. This is what it looks like when someone breaks free of the script. Whoopi stepped forward again. Tom, you're on national television. Millions of people are watching this. Please, for your own sake, stop. Hardy turned slowly to her, and for a brief second, something strange flickered across his face, something almost like sadness, but then it was gone. He said, let them watch. Maybe they'll finally see what really happens behind the scenes of these smiling, sanitized interviews. Behar gave a final warning, her voice trembling slightly, not with fear, but with absolute fury. Tom, I'm done with this. You've hijacked our show, insulted every person on this stage, and made a complete spectacle of yourself. Either sit down and behave like a professional, or leave. Hardy didn't budge. Instead, he leaned in, lowered his voice, and said words that would haunt that studio long after he left. You think this is chaos, Joy? This is clarity, and I'm just getting started. The tension in the room was unlike anything the crew or hosts had ever experienced. You could hear a pin drop, and for a moment, even the usually talkative audience remained completely still, frozen in the unsettling energy that pulsed through the studio. Joy Behar didn't flinch. She kept her gaze locked on Tom Hardy, though her patience was clearly threadbare. Her arms were crossed, her jaw tight. Whatever mask of professionalism remained, it was hanging by a thread. But Hardy wasn't finished, not by a long shot. You want to cut to commercial? He said with a bitter laugh, looking over at the stage manager. Go ahead, hide from it. That's what this show does, isn't it? Sweep it under the rug, then run the edited version online. Make it palatable for your advertisers. Whoopi stepped forward again, the calmest among them, but now even her tone had a razor edge. This isn't about commercials or advertisers, Tom. This is about you coming unglued. You don't get to come in here and disrespect every person in this room and pretend like you're a hero. Disrespect? Hardy snapped back. You're the experts on disrespect. The way you treat your guests when they don't say what you want to hear. The way you gang up, interrupt, twist their words. He turned back to Joy. And you, he said, voice tightening, you sit at the center of it all like some kind of TV queen, acting like you're here to inform, when in reality, all you care about is feeding controversy to your loyal, spoon-fed audience. Behar took a deep breath. Tom, your publicist agreed to every topic we planned to cover today. You walked in here already looking for a fight. Hardy slammed his hand down again, this time on the arm of his chair, hard enough to make a microphone crackle with feedback. Don't insult my intelligence, Joy. You may not have brought up my past yet, but I saw the notes on the teleprompter. I saw the cues your producers were planning. Rehab relationships, family drama. That's what you were really getting ready for. Behind the scenes, chaos had erupted. Producers were scrambling to figure out whether they should cut the feed entirely. Security staff edged closer, waiting for a sign to intervene. But no one wanted to be the one responsible for manhandling one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. Sunny Hostin leaned forward, her voice softer than the rest, hoping to offer Hardy a rope out of the pit he was digging. Tom, look, maybe this just isn't the right space for this conversation. If you feel like you've been wronged in the past, I have been wronged, Hardy barked. Not just by you, by this whole system, by every network that pretends to care about mental health until someone actually shows emotion. Then suddenly they're unstable, dangerous, a liability. He gestured toward the security team. There they are, just waiting for the moment to tackle the angry celebrity. That's the real story, isn't it? The breakdown. That'll trend faster than any film trailer, Sarah Haynes tried again to de-escalate, her voice calm but direct. Tom, I don't know what you're going through, but this is not the way to process it. We are not your enemies. This is supposed to be a place for conversation, not confrontation. Hardy scoffed. Conversation? Is that what you call it when someone disagrees with you and you talk over them until the commercial break? You're being paranoid, Behar said flatly. No one is attacking you. No one is ambushing you. You're turning shadows into monsters because you can't control your emotions. Hardy stepped closer to the table, his voice suddenly dropping into an eerie calm. You're right, Joy. I can't control my emotions. You know why? Because I've spent 2 decades bearing them, so I could smile for cameras like yours. So I could sit on talk shows and pretend to be fine. So I could play the game. He looked straight into the camera now. But I'm done playing. For the first time in the segment, a few members of the audience began to clap, hesitant, unsure whether they were witnessing something brave or something completely unhinged. Others shook their heads in discomfort. A young woman in the front row stood up and quietly led her daughter out of the room. Behar had had enough. Security, she said loud and clear. I want him removed from the set. Her voice echoed in the silence, but Hardy didn't flinch. Instead, he turned his attention to the 2 uniformed guards approaching from the side. Are you going to manhandle me off the stage? He asked calmly. Go ahead. Make the footage even more viral. Let's really give them a show. He turned again to the camera. America, this is what happens when you speak the truth. You get labeled unstable. You get shut down. You get escorted out of the building. Stop it, Goldberg said sharply. You're not a martyr, Tom. You're just being disrespectful. I'm being honest, he shot back, something that rarely survives in this environment. The head of security now approached and spoke quietly to Hardy. Sir, I'm going to ask you one more time to leave the stage voluntarily. Hardy smirked. Of course. Because nothing says freedom of speech like being forced off stage. You've had your say, Behar replied. Now leave, before you dig yourself into a hole you won't be able to climb out of. Hardy's expression turned cold. His final words before being led away sent a chill through the studio. You think this is the end? This is just the first crack in the foundation. You've made enemies today. And I don't forget, as security gently but firmly escorted Hardy off the set, the tension didn't lift. It clung to the air like smoke after a fire. The audience watched in stunned silence. The host sat still, visibly shaken. The producers whispered frantically off camera. And Behar? She sat back down, but the color had drained from her face. She took a deep breath and looked at the camera. Well, she said, her voice tight. We'll be right back. The screen cut to commercial, but the fallout was just beginning. If you like this video, then subscribe.